There we go. Okay. There we go. That's a little louder. We are live. Welcome back. It's been a Jesus Christ. It's been a hot minute. We were supposed to be back last week, but we delayed because of Memorial Day. So we are back this week, and we will be back next week as well. And I'm real quiet. Shit. Okay. Yeah. Well, let me try and fix it. I can get this thing like right up here. How's that? Is that better? Just shove it in my mouth and talk like that. Maybe that'll do the trick. Let me. Sounds like a different mic is in use. How about that? Whoo, buddy! Hot diggity damn. All right. Yeah, that was some loud shit right there. How about that? That better? That's better. Okay. Yeah, you're right, Corden. It was a different mic in use. I changed it, but I guess I didn't change it to the right one. I changed it to the wrong one. Anyways, welcome back. It's been a minute. We have been gone for too long. We will be back next week. We're on a bi-weekly schedule, as I talked about, near the beginning of the season. But Memorial Day pushed us back a week, so we're actually not bi-weekly for these next two. What does bi-weekly mean? Shut up. But so we will be back next week. This is probably the only time we go back to back, except for other, circumstances beyond our control. But yeah, welcome back. Before I introduce these lovely folks, and Itachi is no cam tonight. Sorry about that. You got to pay extra for that. But he's got a lovely victory image for you because he's wearing that crown. I could probably, I'm gonna stick that crown right on his head, because since he's not on video, it's not gonna be moving around. There we go. We're now a bilingual show. See, so yeah, we before we get into bringing people off the mute, as you can see from the bar on the bottom left, you've heard us talk about it, before in the past couple of weeks. I'll talk about it again. English and American. I'm about to boot you from this stream. I'll talk about it again. You're gonna hear it talked about quite a lot, to be quite honest. We are raising money for the Trevor Project. I know it says THL. I've been trying to fix that for a while, and I don't know how to fix it. Or it says THL on the bar. But we're raising money for the Trevor Project, which is an LGBTQIA charity, nonprofit charity, who help teenagers and youth who are either coming out or struggling with their identity, to help them with suicide prevention and whatnot. So yeah, bisexual for the month of June. No. Yeah, so it is Pride Month, especially THL Pride Month. We are doing an event all month long. We have merchandise on our store. You can see a link to our merch. If you go down on your stream, on your Twitch, there's a link to lots of our merch. Dranium is wearing his Rip Carlbot t-shirt right now. I didn't even see that. Awesome. We have tons of merch on there. We have a Pride collection. You can also go to our website, teamhearthlegends.com, and at the top right, you'll see a shop button. You can go there and you can buy some merch. All of the proceeds that we get from the entire month of June will go towards our donation to the Trevor Project. So on top of what you see on the bar will also be all of the proceeds we get from merch and subs, and everything else we get here at THL. But if you want to donate directly, the most amount of money you can give will be to donate directly, because part of you buying a t-shirt goes to the company that we use the t-shirts through. So it's less money actually ends up going to the Trevor Project, 'cause we don't get a lot of money from those, the merchandise. Would be to just donate directly. So if you look right under your Twitch stream, you'll see a nice little nifty button that says donations, THO Pride donations. Click on that, and it will take you to a donation spot where you can donate directly to our campaign. You'll get a nice little notification pop up on the screen. That's the only thing on the THL Twitch stream, actually, that gives a notification to the stream that something has happened. Because we turned all the other ones off. So if you want to be special and you want to see your name pop up, that's the best way to do it, is donate directly. But yeah, awesome. Please, anything counts. Don't worry. Feel like you have to donate a lot. If you want to donate $1, $2, $3 is less than the cup of coffee at Starbucks. I know, because mine costs like $5 when I go. So please, anything helps. Anything gets us closer to our goal. Our goal by the end of June is to get $1,000 donated to the Trevor Project. You can see where we're at right now with just donations. That's not including everything else that we've gained. I don't know what that tally is. I should have looked at that before stream, but I was busy. But yeah, so let's start talking about the people we have on tonight. We have, first off, our reigning champion who's looking to take home another crown, Itachi.
Good evening, THL. Hello, Marco. Hello, other opponents. How are you guys?
Not even gonna say their names. Don't address them. My question, Itachi, is are you gonna be Mayweather or Paul in this fight tonight?
Gonna be the person who didn't buy it and come out the real winner.
That's the correct answer. Good job. I didn't buy it, didn't watch it, but I saw some, clips and videos from it, and it just looked like it was not fun. Justin, welcome back.
Oh, thank you.
How you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. Some great entertainment last night. I mean, I saw the whole thing. It was great from end to end, like thrilling drama. U.S. winning the CONCACAF Nations League. It was awesome.
Oh.
I don't know what you guys were talking about, but...
What is that? Is that soccer?
Soccer, yeah. It went to extra time. Christian Pulisic scored a penalty kick in the 117th minute, and then Mexico got a penalty in the 123rd minute, but the substitute U.S. goalkeeper saved it. So
that's
not sure it can top this, but it was probably close.
That sounds like a lot. That's a lot of minutes. It's a lot of minutes of soccer or football. Sorry. Geranium, welcome back. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing quite well. I also had some great entertainment last night. There was a THL stream where I believe it was Mr. Python and some other person in the finals of a tournament, and that's a lot of good entertainment. I don't know what you guys are talking about, though.
Yeah, I was there. I watched that. That was some good entertainment. It would really be a shame to get second in that tournament, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's almost like that person would be totally forgettable and just useless to have on a team.
Yeah. I think we're all thinking the same thing, right? And if they were to get second in that tournament, there's probably a good chance they're going to get second tonight, right?
That person would really that'd be a big improvement on their past showings and around the Saloon. So that person might not hate that, hypothetically speaking.
Marty B, last but not least.
How's it going?
It's going pretty well. Welcome back. You're our most veteran member on the show tonight.
Yeah, it feels like it's been a while. I want to say it's like 6 weeks already.
I can tell you right now, your last time you were on the show was May 3rd, so 4 weeks.
Oh,
4 weeks-ish.
Okay. Close enough.
Yeah.
Well,
More like 5 weeks, I would say. 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Close enough.
5 weeks, but only 2 episodes ago because of all the delays. So
this is true.
It depends on how you look at it. I know you're excited because we are going to be talking a little while tonight, and I know you're ready for that. All right, let's get right into it. We are going to we had a mini set come out, in case you did not know. If you didn't, then breaking news. We had a mini set come out. 35 new cards, is that correct? 35 new cards. Did I get that number right?
35, yeah.
35 new cards. We're going to have to be talking about some of those tonight, and as well as that, we're going to talk about the meta that has come out of it. Let's start off talking about Shaman. I've always heard this saying, and I don't know if this is the word for word saying, but it's always revolved around when Shaman is in a healthy state, the meta is healthy, and when Shaman is in an unhealthy state, the meta is unhealthy. I don't remember who I heard that from, but I've seen that around multiple times, probably on Twitter. That's where I live my life. So my question for you, and this is coming off the back of Shaman, who is in a healthy state right now. Let's start off with Itachi. Is Shaman the true indicator of meta health?
No, Shaman's not the indicator of mental health. It's Priest.
It's Priest.
Shaman,
Okay.
Shaman's good, and it's fun when it's good, and it's oppressive when it's too good. Shaman's usually a little bit overly tuned. Every time there's like a really, really oppressive deck, it usually starts with Shaman. So if we talk about Evolve, if we talk about Gadgets in, if we talk about Overload Shaman, we talk about Tunnel Trog, we talk about 4-mana 7/7 in a time where 4-mana 7/7 was way too big. Shaman usually being really good is not an indicator of the meta being healthy. Priest being too good is an indicator of the meta being unhealthy. So the Shaman theory is dead.
Shaman theory is dead. Justin, agree? Disagree?
Are you sure you didn't misremember that? I can swear people said that there is indeed a correlation, but it's a negative correlation.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, it's good that it feels like all the classes are playable again. I'm enjoying the meta right now. I honestly don't enjoy this version of Shaman that much. I saw people on Twitter talking about how Doomhammer feels like the same deck as Weapon Rogue feels the same deck as like Soul DH for a bit, and I definitely get those vibes. The other thing that someone pointed out to me yesterday that I found pressing is that a big part of Hearthstone, or the randomness in the game, is not just random effects, but the biggest portion of it is draw variance. So part of the reason that draw variance is tempered is by hero powers. So you can weave them in to in case you miss your draw. And Shaman right now kind of doesn't have a hero power. Like in Doomhammer Shaman, it's remarkable how useless their hero power is. There's not even spell damage token anymore to buff spells. There's no Flame Tongue Tome. There's no Bloodlust. They don't have board buffs. It's kind of just, do you hit your 3-mana Ancient of Lore? Do you hit your Cage Match Custodian? Do you hit your Doomhammer? Or okay, I guess you're passing. This version just feels kind of not that great to me, but hey, it's there for some people who like it, and it's only like 5-10% of the meta, so there's also other cool stuff to like as well. Everyone has their own niche, so that's I'm a fan.
Marty B.
All right, well, not to be a Debbie Downer, but using a class's health to determine a meta's health is, I think, a bit of a straw man because, there's been every single class having some sort of deck at some point that created an unhealthy meta, okay? Most recently, we saw it with Paladin. We've seen it with Warlock. We've seen it with Priest. We've seen it with Hunter even. I thought Hunter might have been the deck or it might have been the class where when it was at the top, it would have been healthy. And then I realized I had to go all the way back to Undertaker Hunter. There's a time Hunter defined a meta and it was unhealthy. So it is every single class. They've all had offenders at some points. And to point out a class and say if that class is healthy, then the entire meta is healthy is missing the bigger picture. And it's also ignoring a lot of things within that class, historically speaking.
Okay. Draining.
If calling one class's health the health of the entire meta is a straw man, then please put me outside in the field and put a straw cap on me, because that is exactly what I want to do. I think Shaman does indicate the health of this meta because Shaman has the Doomhammer as sort of an evergreen card, and Shaman's Doomhammer only attacks face if there's no taunts in the way, and taunts are the things that need nerf in this expansion. So we got the taunts, get those out of here. We also have a whole bunch of healing. Now the healing is what makes the game take so much more longer, and it makes it so much more about the random generation. Instead, if Shaman just ends the game, then the meta feels a lot more healthy if the Shaman can remove those priests that Itachi's having problems with. So I think that Shaman doesn't necessarily need its hero power. It's got the draw. Now it's got the card selection that it needs. It's got the draw your weapon. It's got the Doom Hammer. It's got the same sort of classic staples that you always wanted. It's just about making sure that those other things are not keeping the shaman down.
Okay. Okay. All right. We're gonna keep going with the mini set. We're gonna talk specifically about the mini set and just the mini set here. And I want to hear about your sleeper picks. We're gonna go in reverse order, so keep that throat moist because you're gonna keep talking here, Geranium. Geranium, what is the biggest sleeper of the Wailing Caverns mini set? What do you think people are sleeping on here?
Well, actually, I think that the thing that people are sleeping the most on is the thing that sleeps. It's the dormant Archdruid Gnarlex. Because Archdruid Gnarlex adds 2 dream cards to your hand way before turn 9. Doesn't mean that you have to play Ysera in your deck. It just gives you so many more options. It is something, it gives you Dream, which is super, super good in a ton of matchups. Good into, more specifically, Paladin. If they're going to be playing their Librams, bounce it back to hand. Gives you a 7/6 on turn 4. If you have that no tempo on turn 3, right into a 7/6 on turn 4 that then plays into your N'Zoth much later into the game, like, Gnarlex gives you almost everything you could want. Sometimes you get a 2-mana 3/5, which you just play and are happy with. Sometimes it gives you the 5-mana AoE that just wins you the game against certain matchups. Like, Archdruid Gnarlex gives you all the tools that you would want. So, why don't people run it? Well, it doesn't have the tempo that you might want, but it has increased the win rate of all the decks that are playing it.
Oh, sorry. I muted myself there for a second because I sneezed. Marty B.
All right, well, I'm gonna go with a card that hasn't seen a lot of play yet because I don't think this is the right meta for it. But it's gonna be a sleeper because it's gonna do some really powerful things in the class it's in, and it's the cutest card in the set, Serpent Bloom. Okay, Serpent Bloom, 0 mana, and give a friendly beast poisonous. This card with Kolkar Pack Runner, okay, that's removal on a stick. Okay, you can remove anything with this. And if you can get a good draw engine in Hunter with this, a miracle style Hunter with Kolkar Pack Runner and cheap spells, and you just get that draw engine going, okay, Hunter is going to be very dangerous. And this card is going to be part of the reason why it's so dangerous. We've already seen a little bit in Wild. People are experimenting with a Beast Hunter with Serpent Bloom, and it's insane there. Over there, we already have draw engines in Starving Buzzard, and the card is nuts. So I think with the way Blizzard is setting things up, they're hoping to create some really cool Miracle Hunter stuff, and I'm looking forward to it. I think this is one of those cards that are really going to enable the archetype.
Machine Gun Hunter. Bring it on. Justin.
That's a good point, Marty, actually. Yeah, I've already seen some Master Tour qualifier lists with Serpent Bloom, just as one of them Face Hunter. Anyways, the card that I was really shocked about that's playable, maybe there are other people smarter than me that predicted this or saw this in advance, but I just thought Big Demon Hunter meme, lol, Taintite Tormentor. This is another card I'm going to see once when I unpack it and never see again until I'm scrolling through my collection a few times and scrolling past it. But I won a THL match yesterday with Big Demon Hunter, and it had that card in it. And that's a real deck now. And when I say real, it's probably not optimal, but it's something you can bring. It exists. There's a deck in Demon Hunter that doesn't run Skull of Gul'dan because it runs so many big demons. I don't think that was not even on my radar, not even within the scope of things I was thinking about whatsoever. And that's pretty freaking cool. Blizzard finally found a way to make Skull not insane or not necessary. I don't know. To make a deck that has enough synergy to overcome needing to play cheap stuff for Skull.
And finally, Itachi.
I think the most underrated card is Seed Cloud Buckler for Paladin. Paladin, 3 mana, 2/3 weapon. Death Rattle, give immunity to Divine Shield. 3 mana weapon, deal 6 damage, and then give a bunch of stuff Divine Shield whenever you want it to. It's pretty fantastic. We actually saw it come into, I believe, Viper's lineup going into GM playoffs. And if you're willing to bring that card that's brand new in order to give yourself a shot at Worlds, I think it's really underplayed in terms of that. So I think not a lot of Paladin decks are being played heavily because of the Hand of Adal nerf. I don't think the Paladin is completely dead. I think something like Seed Cloud Buckler can add a little bit more resiliency to a Paladin board to combat things like Control Warrior using cards like Rancor, which historically are really good versus Paladin, especially if you've got Librams that are putting your health to 1. Doesn't really matter if they've got Divine Shield. So I think that card's seeing a lot less play than it needs to.
To be quite honest, I forgot that card came out in the mini set, and that was just released a week ago. That's insane. Yeah, no, I definitely see that logic there. Uh, Al heard the words Control Warrior and just turned on the stream and popped in. It seems. We are going to transition a little bit to Battlegrounds. So our two, this is gonna be my attempt at sponsored content. Our two Battlegrounds questions tonight have been brought to you by our one and only Around the Saloon contestant, Steffi, because I don't know how to make Battlegrounds questions, so she made them for me. Starting off, well, we're going to do one for this round, and then we're going to do one for face or trade. So, last question of the Mulligan phase. She wanted to hear you guys talk about the new Battlegrounds heroes. So, her question, starting with Justin, is which new Battlegrounds hero is stronger? According to her, they are way too close in power level, so she wants to hear your logic and reasoning.
My logic is that I have not played Battlegrounds. And that's about it. I'll pass my time to the chair. Oh, okay, just kidding. I'm insane at hitting 50-50s. The problem is that this isn't even a 50-50 because I don't even know what the cards are named.
Wow. Just so the chat knows, all of your contestants here are given the topics hours ahead of time. So Justin decided not to do his homework.
Oh, I had stuff prepped for my but I didn't see the new heroes. I mean, I'm always just in time. I showed up on time for the show today. I'm not always reading time.
All right.
You can have one, but not both.
Justin's passing his question over to Geranium.
Don't worry, I'll take up the reins. So I think the best hero is Guff. You can get buff with Guff. You can improve different minions from different tavern tiers. There's sort of the idea of you can get a mech from every single tavern tier level and then just improve all of them at the same time and just make this huge mega mech board. But I actually think that the best way to use it is you keep one of those 2-1 Give Divine Shield on Death Rattles from one of the early stages of the game. You also get one of those 1-1 Poisonous minions that's in every single game, and you just buff those every single turn. You got a 2 and a 5, and you just fill out the rest of your curve with some generally fine stuff. Maybe get a Death Rattle doubler in there, and just poison your way through to the end. As long as those poisons do end up keep getting buffer, then it makes it so those 1-1s don't die to the 1 damage AoE that would normally kill them right at the start. And then when they survive that, then they can get the Divine Shield, then they can just kill a bunch of million things, and you win the game. So buff with Guff, way better than Mutinous.
All right, Tachi.
Yeah, so Guff is absolutely the better hero. It's an average placement of 3.71 as opposed to Mutinous being a 4.14 average placement, despite Mutinous being picked more often than Guff. Guff also has a higher placement distribution where it finishes first through fourth way more often than it finishes 4th through 8th, whereas Mutinous is kind of a level all the way across the board. It finishes 8th way less often, but every other place, 1st through 7th, it's pretty consistent at finishing in those ranks. In terms of Guff's power, you have a lot of Divine Shield minions on Tavern Tier 3, which is a little bit unfortunate, but you do have Bolvar on Tavern Tier 4, and you have Cleave as well on Tavern Tier 4 and Tavern Tier 6 with Cape Hydra and the Met Cleave. You also have a Divine Shield on Tavern Tier 2 with Tough Tusk, which is a full board that needs a Blood Gem in order to gain Divine Shield, but you can triple it and it has permanent Divine Shield, so that's fine in Guff's composition. So a lot of reasonable minions to continue to buff. It's also a bit of a light thing, except you get to control when the light thing goes off. Instead of having 2 mechs on your board at the end of your turn, you can do it when it's 1 mech on the board and get the hero power then, and then you play your second mech and you have to worry about the light thing missing the one that you want. So Guff is an insane hero. It's really good right now, and if you're not picking him, you're doing the wrong thing. So 62.9% pick rate is way too low.
All right, we always love stats. Stats always, I think historically, if you go back and watch VODs, I think stats always net you the most amount of points on Around the Saloon. Marty B.
All right, well, as an aside, if stats were the thing that won you the most points, I'd be winning almost every week because I bring them up all the time. But yeah, it's too easy to pick Guff. I'm not even gonna go through entirely what a top.
Sorry, there's this weird taste in my mouth. It's almost like someone just dumped a bunch of salt into it.
Oh,
Can't figure it out.
Anyways, I'm gonna talk about why Mutanus is worse though. Instead, so Zero Man Hero Power. Zero mana hero powers, they have the potential to be broken, they have the potential to do nothing. And we know Mutanus' hero power is really good. But with that said, it's much more difficult to build around and take advantage of than Guff. And that's because spitting its stats into another is kind of random. Okay? And it's very difficult to guarantee that it hits the minion that you want. Right? Now, if you want this to be completely broken, you have it usable multiple times, but we obviously want balance. And so if you just miss that one minion, okay, then your entire turn is screwed. And then you have to wait again to try to hit the proper minions that you want. And that kind of high roll and low roll not only feels bad, it's just poor gameplay and design because there's very little skill testing with that. And so it really surprises me too that, Mutanus has a higher pick rate than Guff Rune Totem because the randomness is just, it's not fun. It's not fun.
Yeah. Yep, I know exactly what you're talking about. We don't like randomness here in Hearthstone, right? We never get any of that. For those of you that are complaining in the chat, I forgot to turn on the rewards, but they have been turned on, so you can quit yelling at me. We're going to move on to Face or Trade. We have 4 questions in the Face or Trade round. We're going to start off with another BG's questions, brought to you by Steffi again. We have already a point up. Oh my gosh, okay. Reminder, in Face Trade rounds, I'm going to be providing statements to our contestants, and they are going to tell me face or trade. Face meaning they agree, and trade meaning they disagree with the statement. And I feel like I'm very proud of myself. I gave and removed those points as I was talking. We are going to start off with Marty B because he has not gone first yet. We're going to start off again with another Battlegrounds question. We're going to talk about Maiev. So, face or trade, Marty B. Removing Maiev Shadow Song was needed to balance the BG's meta.
I'm going to trade. I think if you have to remove something based on the meta, then there's something very wrong. Okay? We've seen in other formats, like you can print and have whatever you want in there as long as, you have a bunch of variety and options. And removing one of those options in another style of gameplay, it's pretty harmful to the experience. I think there were other ways to balance around Maiev being in the heroes pool rather than taking it out. If they had seen that, maybe a tribe would give it a problem, maybe they need to rework that tribe instead, because that means they're also limiting the other kinds of heroes that they can create. And limiting the heroes, the entire point of Battlegrounds, the tribes aside, you can pick whatever tribe you want with most heroes, or at least a good amount. If you're limiting what kind of heroes that you're allowed to have, then there's an issue with how you're designing. So,
okay.
This is just a not so good sign in terms of game design, in my opinion.
All right. Justin.
Okay, well, the question is face or trade, so I'm always going face. So we're big Demon Hunter game players here. But, balance the meta, it doesn't even mean anything. The devs even said in AMAs, even for the standard meta, they just nerf things, they do things based on what people want. It's a game. People want to have fun. Maiev was really good for a long time. It was cool, it was unique, it was interesting at first, and then people got how to play it, and it was no longer as cool or unique or interesting, especially when it got... because it's hero power. The power scales so much with the amount of money minions in the shop, and they printed new ones. It got much stronger as time went on. People just didn't like it. They bring heroes out all the time, take them away, bring them back, rework hero powers. It's part of the natural design to make everyone happy. It's not even as bad as constructed, where a huge point where people quit the game, like casuals, is when they log back in and see their favorite deck is nerfed. They just delete the game, never come back again. Battleground, they don't even have that opportunity to realize their favorite hero, Maiev, isn't there. the devs just bamboozled all the casuals. This was a great decision. Everyone's going to be happy as a result of this. There's no one who's going to quit the game because of this, and a few high-level competitors will be like, yes, I'm now dog. I don't get mad when I don't get Maiev and that my opponent does anymore.
Alrighty. Tachi.
Yeah, I'm definitely for this. So I'm going face here. Yeah, Maiev was definitely needed. She had to go. There's a lot of things that people say about being able to remove worse heroes and kind of make other heroes better in order to balance things out. But the way that Maiev was so top heavy, there was no balancing any other hero unless you made every single hero broken. Um, Maya was just far too good for that. So the whole thing about leveling up is that you have to lose some amount of tempo in order to level up. But with a character like Maiev, where you can pick the minion that you're going to get in 2 turns, you can level up safely, knowing that you won't have to expend that gold on minions. You already have a minion coming to you every single turn for 1 gold, which is an even trade-off because you can also sell it for 1 gold. So it's a little bit ridiculous. She was an insane hero. It was very hard to lose with Maiev if you just hero powered every turn and leveled every turn after 6 gold. So yeah, they needed to take away Maiev. It was just too top heavy of a hero, and trying to balance around something that good is just unreasonable for Team Five right now, I think.
All right, and last but not least, Geranium.
I really hate to go face, but this is just obviously a face here. Maiev is like the ability to take a minion for less than 3 gold. 3 gold is the price that they set for every single hero. So the ability to take it for only 1 gold and not even have much of a drawback is insane. Not only that, you get the ability to take a triple and not take the triple immediately, which means you get to take a triple and then level. And you get to do things like you take the minion that you're going to need in 2 turns later on down the road, and then it's still a buffed minion, and you got it for 2 less gold. It's actually just insane how Maya was able to stay in the game, especially when initially people were sort of bamboozled into when am I going to use the hero power, how am I going to fill out my curve, what means am I going to target with it. But then as guides start coming out and as people actually start learning how to play the hero, it just becomes utterly stupid. There's no reason for it to stay in the game where it's going to every single opportunity make it so that the person who's playing the Maiev has a much easier time than every other player. It's straight out of the pool. That's great. Don't even let me get the achievement. Please just get it out of here right now.
All right, don't let him get the achievement. He doesn't need it anyways, right? We're gonna go over to standard. Let's talk about some of the buffs and nerfs that came in during our time off from the show, and specifically N'Zoth. So my next question, face or trade? Sorry, statement. Face or trade, and we're going to go back to starting with Itachi here. The N'Zoth buff will be reverted before it rotates.
I'm gonna trade with that one. I don't think that it's gonna be reverted. I think it's in a pretty healthy place. As long as they continue to print cards that promote aggressive strategies that can beat a N'Zoth type strategy, and they don't go too all in on cards like the Light Shower Elemental where it's taunt and heal. I think N'Zoth is pretty good for the game. I think big bombs are neat. I think they need them. I think a 9-mana finisher is completely fine, especially if you have to have the things die and you have to pay the mana or play the things, even if you don't pay the mana beforehand in order for that to happen. So I've seen a lot of times where you have to N'Zoth for just a couple of minions and you don't really get a lot of value from it. So you're spending 9 mana to get, a decent pile of stats, but you're not winning the game on the back of that. Also, control decks are really good right now. Control decks are really good at removing things right now. And there's a lot of cards that cost very little mana that can clear an entire N'Zoth board. So I don't think it'll get taken away. I don't think it'll get reverted. I think it'll be just fine at 9 mana. I think it'll stay there.
All right. Dranium.
I think that I'm going to trade on this one. I think the N'Zoth buff will not get reverted. I think it is perfectly great to have control, have sort of this mainstay in the game, but have their entire deck be built around it. It's sort of the same idea as what Reno used to be, except for that it doesn't make every single card in your deck just insane by, oh yeah, you gain all your health back, oh yeah, you remove your entire opponent's board, oh yeah, you get this incredible bonus. Instead, it's like, okay, well, if you draw the one card in your deck that you're building your entire deck towards, then you can get your reward. Then you can get 1 Light Shower Elemental back. Then you can get 1 big green man back so you can deal 8 damage to the opponent's face. I think that on 9, it's perfect. It also allows you to use a broom with it, so that way you can clear off opposing minions. But I think that a year from now, we're going to see maybe a few more of these menagerie minions printed. Maybe we'll see the pirate and priest get replaced with a different pirate or something like that. But I don't think that the power level is going to raise that much since they know that N'Zoth was already in the game beforehand. It's not changing. They're not removing it from the pool like we want Maev to be. They're just keeping it in there, keeping it at 9 mana, and keeping it pleasant.
Alrighty. Justin.
Well, I mean, just like N'Zoth resurrecting Illidari Inquisitor, we must go face. So, just because the card's not very good now, we're in only a 4-set meta, right? As they keep printing more minion tags, because they plan their sets very far out in advance. There's no way they're going to update. And just because the card's good doesn't mean it's not pervasive. Casuals, N'Zoth is the anti-Ziliax. You would lose to Ziliax, but you would not realize you lost to Ziliax. N'Zoth, a big game-ending bomb. Casuals will get madder and madder of every deck playing N'Zoth until they rant and they rage and they nerf it in one fell swoop. The same patch they also nerf Ticketus and a bunch of other bad cards that casuals hate. It's going to happen. Well, it's actually probably not going to happen, but if it did happen, that's why it would happen. I don't know. Everyone already said all the good points. The card's not that great.
Okay, Marty B. Marty B, you're muted.
I do this every time.
I know. Always once.
So I'm going to take this from a different perspective real quick.
Okay.
And so we know the devs try to create new archetypes every single expansion, right? They try to expand on new ones instead of, buffing ones that are already good. And we see that they've supported N'Zoth, okay, with Menagerie stuff. And they don't really need to go Menagerie anymore. And with the 4-set meta, it's arguable that the 4-set meta is actually what enabled N'Zoth in the first place, because you have to run cards of different tribes that don't necessarily have all that much synergy with the rest of your decks. So as time goes on and more cards are available, you'll be able to make more synergistic decks instead with finishers that come online sooner. Okay, so N'Zoth has to be this very powerful late game bomb to really even be worth running in the first place, because you're running sort of anti-synergistic cards right now. Okay, like the 4-mana 5/5 Pirate. Outside of having a Pirate tag, the only thing it is anti-fatigue, or it's a fatigued card for some control decks, but it doesn't really do anything else. It's not great against aggro. Okay, it doesn't give you any answers that you can play all that often. It's okay against control. It's just a good 5/5 to raise off of N'Zoth. But given all of that, it's hard to see N'Zoth getting any better. Decks are going to get faster. Control tools are going to get better and be able to deal with N'Zoth boards more easily. There's just going to be better options, and I can't see them wanting to make it 10 mana again.
All
So
right.
trade.
Points up and then points down. Your opponents are coming after you, Marty. They know where the competition is. They're coming for the jugular.
They want to top you to win, I see.
All right, let's talk about Priest real quick. Your contestants are gonna be thrown off by this question a little bit, because the original question I had written for this spot we actually have already covered pretty much. So instead of rehashing old topics that we already talked about in the show, I just wrote one on the fly. So let's talk about Priest, and something that was brought up earlier by Itachi. But we're not going to start with Itachi because he went first last time. Let's start with Dranium. It's been a minute since he's gone first. Geranium, face trade. Priest is not as toxic as people think. Its win rate is sitting pretty average. So tell me, face of trade.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to. I'm betraying myself. I always want to trade, and I love trading on board, but I have to go face on this one again. Priest definitely does not have the same abilities as some of the other classes to make the incredible boards. They have to have a minion stick. They have to then Apo it. They have to have all these little things line up for them. They have to get the Mutinous to land on a good minion. They have to get the card generation, and then maybe card generation. The more card generation, then it starts to feel a little bit bad. But honestly, with so few card generation tools in the metagame, with Sethic honestly not working that well into a lot of different aggressive decks. With Renew, you only get a few Renews and the few Palm readings that you have in your deck. It doesn't feel like you actually get as much random spell generation as maybe you would with, I don't know, maybe Rogue. Rogue seems to have like a lot more just randomness and, oh, all my stuff is reduced. Oh, and also I'm going to burst you for 32 in one turn. Like, Priest sure is slow and Priest definitely heals, but Priest is not as toxic. The cards that it's generating just don't have as much impact as the cards other people just have in their deck naturally. Sure, it can keep its 50% win rate as it wants.
All right. Itachi.
Okay, so one of the interesting things is if you take a look at HSP play and you start at Platinum and you just work your way up to Legend Top 1000, the Priest deck continues to get better and better in terms of win rate every time you go up. So I'm going to go, the original question, I think I'm going to go trade, because it is, Priest is definitely really, really good. If you look at Gabby, consistent rank 1 player, Gabby has gone multiple months now, gaining rank 1 with exclusively Priest, which kind of lets you know that if one of the best players on ladder wants to play the best deck to get rank 1 consistently, he's going to play Priest, because Priest is just that good. Priest is actually the only class that has a win condition versus every single matchup, even the unfavored ones, that does not require the opponent to draw bad. If I'm going to be a rogue and I want to win against a Rush Warrior, I need the Rush Warrior to draw a little bit worse than normal, a below average hand. Priest is the only class that doesn't require that in order to create a win condition. As a matter of fact, some of the game plans that Priest has versus its unfavored matchups require you drawing good. They require you to draw your tickets. They require you to do the things that you want to do to beat Priest in the first place. They require you to burn them as Mage instead of playing Deck of Lunacy, so that they can heal it back up by random generation and then win the game because you don't have any more burn. I mean, it's kind of insane that you can create a win condition with this deck against any deck. So yeah, Priest is definitely oppressive. Priest definitely has some issues in terms of balancing, in terms of generation. It doesn't really need the card draw that Priest doesn't inherently have in its class identity or its class set. It doesn't need the card draw. It does just fine without. So yeah, gonna trade with that one.
Alrighty. Marty B.
All right. Well, I've been trading all night. Let's just keep it up. So, let's let the people speak. THL stats. All right.
Okay.
Start with Pro. 28 bans last week for Priest. That was the most by far. Okay. We look at Hero. 16 bans for Priest. That was tied for the most with Paladin. Hero's a bit unusual because we know that people like countering, so more people probably brought Priest counters because it's easy to do that. So it makes a little bit of sense. It's a Legacy. Again, Priest is at the top. 21 total bans. Okay. No one wants to play Priest. And we look historically across the season, Priest is #1 in all 3 standard series. Okay? People have spoken. No one likes Priest. No one wants to play against Priest. You ban it because it's toxic. Just get rid of it. Trade.
I tell you, I ban it because I don't want my matches to go 2 hours. I played, oh god, I played a 37-minute Control Warrior versus Priest match last week. Whew. Oh my. Justin.
Okay, well, I guess I'm gonna have to go face. I mean, yeah, Mako or Mardi and Itachi are certainly right. Priest is very strong right now. People are banning it, though it doesn't inherently mean it's toxic. I mean, there's always has to be a strongest deck, which I guess you can warp and consider toxic, but normally people refer to toxic as in terms of gameplay mechanics, which you could argue Priest does, but I mean, it's nowhere near as bad as last year when with Galakrond Hero Power, when literally every card in their hand was created by, and then matches would take forever. It still don't take a while, but a lot of Priest games end before fatigue now, especially with Draconic Studies always hitting mid-range dragons now. There's always something to complain about, you know. This is, in terms of Hearthstone history, of all the worst cards of all time, this isn't Heliseth on 2, this isn't Undertaker. It's really not that bad. People are just sussy wussies and wanting to get something.
Oh god. Before we move on to our final face or trade question, thank you to our contestants Training Battle for donating $5 to the Trevor Project campaign. He said, I don't drink coffee, so that money can go here instead. Good points. Any non-coffee drinkers in the chat would like to continue the train, that we would very much appreciate it. We have one final question. Justin, you are currently in last place, so I will let you choose. Would you like to go last or would you like to go first? Or, because Steffi created a new rule last episode, would you like to choose the order?
I mean, I'm not going to be talking for a while probably after this question, so let me just extend that time, get my last points in now. Let's go first.
All right. So we'll go Justin, Marty, Duranium, Itachi. One final question. I have the power. I think I have the power sometimes, but I feel like, sometimes people just take that power right from me. We are going to talk all THL for the rest of the show. We have 4 more questions. 1 in Face of Trade being your final question in this round before we remove 2 players, and then 3 THL questions in duel. We are getting close to the playoffs. And we're going to talk pro here for Face of Trade. So, Justin, Pro Series, Face of Trade. Faction sneaks into the top 4 for playoffs in the Black Conference. They're just outside.
Oh, yeah.
4 points.
I mean, now you fill in the people who haven't looked at pro standings, but not the battleground here, as I got you. But no, Faction are definitely making it. Para los Chicos are on the bye this week. It would be quite the upset if they didn't make it, in fact. Like, isn't that close?
Oh, you're just saying it's going to be a blowout, don't you?
Our top 4 out of 9 make playoffs, and currently Faction are 3 back of someone on a bye. So,
still got 2 weeks, though, bud. Still got 2 weeks.
3 points this week.
Yeah.
I think they have pretty good odds of getting 3 points this week, Mako.
Okay. All right. Justin's not remembering that we have 2 more weeks after this week. So, Duranium, I'll throw it to you.
Bad.
Or no, sorry, Marty. Marty's second here.
Okay.
Yeah, so looking at the standings, something people aren't taking into account is the average strength of opponents, and Faction has the easiest schedule so far this season. So that means they're probably overperforming a bit, and that means it's unlikely that they'll get as many points as they have been lately. Okay, so unless they can get that big push, I don't know if they'll make it. Yeah, there's the team ahead that had a bye week, but I don't know. I think, Faction still has 1 week left. They have a bye still to come. Or, no, sorry, they don't. They already did their bye, so they have 2 weeks. But I don't know if they make it, given their points per week and their Easter schedule. It's going to be a very tough schedule up ahead. They have an uphill battle to climb. And I think the teams above them will make it before Faction.
All right.
Even with Para los Chicos having a bye right now.
Oh my god. Apparently my finger stayed on the point up button there for a second. You had like 64 points for a hot minute there.
Wait, let's put them back.
Put them back?
Let's put them back.
Sorry. Duranium. No, this is not the last week of Pro, C-Mac. There's like 2 more weeks after this week.
Okay.
Wait,
so,
no, this is the last week in Pro?
My time, I'm going to...
Hold on.
This is the last week of Pro.
Time out.
This is the last week of Pro.
I was really sure about that. I looked that up.
Is this?
Yep, the schedule does have this is the last week.
Yeah, it's a 19.
Shit.
Yeah,
Okay.
There's only 9 weeks.
I must have been thinking of a different one. I thought they had 11 weeks. Which one is 11 weeks?
Oh,
That's
that's
wild.
Hero.
Wild.
Damn it.
Wild
Okay,
was the one
fine.
that adjusted.
You know what? They play Hyperizing
Oh,
this
Hero.
week, so they still could get less than 3 points. Make the argument.
They literally just make a counter lineup to Ox, who's not changing his lineup. I said it here, so there you
Okay,
go.
well, that's...
Duranium.
That's news. Liquid Ox is not changing his lineup. Awesome. Now we just need to tell Faction that, and then Harash can win his one match. But yeah, Faction does need to only get those last 3 points to overcome Para los Chicos, and then they're for sure in the top 4. I do think that it's incredibly clinched. They've got, Hyperizon has the absolutely stacked 1 through 4. But then Mojo Pal is on Faction and has a positive win rate in the 5 seed, and D-Money does not. It's even possible that he does another thing with Jester where he puts in a bunch of different Murazans and just does a meme week just because he's in the 5. So I think that faction, even if they just get almost full swept, they're going to get the last few squeaky clean wins that they need to make it out of there. Even though Hyperizon is such a beast.
All right, Itachi, you're already in the final round, so say what you want. You don't have to say anything here if you don't want to.
No, I mean, since we're on the topic of faction, I figured I'd just give Hawkeye a shout out because after the qualifiers, he got an email saying that something happened to the guy that came in first in the qualifier that he came in second in. So he now is invited to Masters for Dalaran. So I think that's pretty awesome. So congratulations to him. And that is the 1 seed for faction currently.
All right. Geranium tried to buy his way into a tiebreaker for the final round. Huh?
Round not over.
No, I know. So I deducted a point for him for trying to buy his own way in, and then I'll add his point on that and then Diamond's buying him another point. Sometimes I hate it here, and I'm joking. And
Mako, I think you should dig in your heels and give a -5 to everyone, the 2 out of 4 people who knew the length of the pro season this week. I mean, the 2 who didn't really made some good points here.
Rice Bowl with the point up for Marty, and then Corridon with the point down for Geranium. Oh my gosh. Okay. I was going to say 5 seconds, and I'll let chat decide. But it sounds like chat's decided. Oh, okay. Bone Smasher secured that one there for Marty. Okay, you guys can stop now. Even with my meme down, Geranium still would not be in it with all these other points. All right. Final round. Justin, Geranium, the 2 people who probably feel like I just scammed them from making it to the finals. Anything before you go on mute here?
I'm not salty like Marty B, so I'm fine with this.
Ooh.
Toxic over
Attacking him. Okay. Justin, anything?
Oh, I don't know. Have fun. See you in 30.
Have fun. See you in 30. All right. We have one final round. We have a dual round. We are going to talk about 3 THL questions. Marty is excited for one of these. I'm sure he's super glad he made it to the final round here because we're going to talk a little bit of Wild. And I think every time we talk Wild, Marty's not in the finals because we usually talk about it in the final question. So he's ready to just kind of pop off here and try and score as many points as he can. But before we get to Wild, we're going to talk about Hero Series. Since Tachi had the most points going in, Tachi will go first, Marty will go second, then we will rotate after that. So, final questions. First one, Itachi, starting with you. Hero Series, out of the current top 4 in Hero, who is not making it to playoffs? Hero is super, super close from like top to bottom. So, based on the current top 4, which teams are not going to see the playoff race?
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with wherever I may roam. They're currently in the 4th slot. They're actually tied for 4th and 5th with Vote of Some Confidence. I think Vote of Some Confidence has got a pretty good last couple of weeks ahead of them. I think that they're playing really strong. I don't think the Dad Legend and No Pros here have a chance of getting kicked out. I also don't think Blast has a chance of getting kicked out. They're all playing at really high levels currently. I think Vote of Some Confidence has a lot of proving to do. I think that they're going to end up coming out on top of the Hero standing. So I think they'll squeak in 4th. I think wherever I may roam will be just a couple points off because they've got a little bit of a harder schedule coming up here.
Alrighty, Marty B.
All right. Well, thinking about wherever I may roam, yeah, they're 4th place and they're actually tied with Vote of Some Confidence, but we see they have the harder strength of schedule and Vote of Some Confidence is not. So that means Vote of Some Confidence is overperforming. If anything, Ask HS is the one most likely to sneak in, but I still don't think they will. Wherever I may roam has the easier road ahead now. Okay, so that means they're going to be securing more points. Okay, I'm not even going to talk about the other 3 because No Pros here, Dad Legend, and Blast are pretty much all guaranteed in the playoffs. I think... Wait, hold on. There's 6. there's 12 teams. We have a different format this season. So we actually have 12 teams in Wild too, and the reason why that's why I know this. With 12 teams now, the top 2 teams get a bye, and then the next 4 teams get a qualifier.
Mm-hmm.
And
Correct.
we're still in the regular season, correct?
Correct.
So that means of the top 4, I think they all make playoffs, and I think that vote of some confidence, who's tied for 4th right now, but technically in 5th on the website, I think they fall out, and the 1337 squad and Ask HS sneak in above them.
All right.
So I think that's your big upset.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, the reason I was asking is because you look at the standings right now in Hero. You go down to the bottom 3. They're only like maybe 10 points out of contention for playoff race.
Yeah, it's close, but when we look at it, we see the strength of schedule, and we see that a lot of the teams on the bottom have been playing easier teams, so guys down there, and they haven't been playing a lot of the guys at the top. So although the points make it look close, it's not as close as I think.
Gotcha. All right, we're gonna talk about Wild. 1 second. Here we go. Okay, there we go. I had to time out Justin there in chat. He's being toxic. Marty, Wild, you get to go first on the Wild question. We're actually going. He hit me with in our prep section. He hit me with why are we talking about Steeler Warlock? Well, fun fact, Marty, the whole point of it was to talk about Steeler Warlock, but I want to talk about it within the realm of THL. So, Marty, will Steeler Warlock warp the THL meta?
Just no.
No?
I actually, so I messaged Hat about this to talk to the board because Steeler Warlock needs an eye on it. Not because it's good, because it's horrible. Here, I can actually give you the win rate of Steeler Warlock if you'd like. And my estimated win rate is horrible. It's around like 30%. Okay, so the deck is bad. I know that my friend Concerned Mom will get on my case, but I do want to remind him that it was because of his poor internet, his Battlegrounds internet, that he was able to play the deck so much to the success he saw. So, with that said, the problem is it encourages people to play constructed like BGs. Okay? The disconnect exploit that we saw in BGs, that's coming to constructed now. Okay? And there's a certain version of Steeler Warlock, the Mechatoon in particular, that you pretty much need to use that to be able to play the deck. Otherwise, you just don't have enough time and the timer runs out. But if you do, the deck gets much better. And it's actually kind of playable, if not still a tier 4 deck. That being said, again, because it can be easily banned, and there's so many things that counter it. Secret Mage is popular, Dark Lair Warlock is popular. All these aggressive decks just murder the deck. And they're very popular in THL right now. I can't see it taking over anything. I'm still just worried about the kind of impact it can have in terms of a gameplay perspective within THL and whether we want that in Constructed. We already have it in Battlegrounds, but do we want to move that to other series as well? That's the main question.
Gotcha. Tachi.
Okay, it's actually kind of funny because with Marty being a Wild specialist, you would think that he would have taken a little bit more time to consider the question that you were asking. He asked, did we think that Soul Stealer was going to warp the THL meta? And then Marty spent the entire time talking about how to warp the meta with counters and bans. So I think it will warp the meta. That doesn't mean that necessarily the deck's good. And I think that the disconnect exploit is nothing new. I don't think it's a new thing to Standard. It's not anything to Wild. It's not anything to Battlegrounds. Xananan has been doing the disconnect bug with Rally Priest for about a month now. So it's nothing new going on there. People have used that exploit since that exploit has been available. So to answer the question correctly, yes, Soul Stealer Warlock will warp the THL meta. As much as that does not make the deck good, it will be warping because you'll have to bring aggressive strategies because people will be scared of it. And you've got one of the top Wild players in Nimnar getting on Twitter and blasting about how he doesn't like the deck and he thinks the deck should be nerfed. So people usually take heed to people like that, especially with someone who has so much focus in Wild. So yeah, I think it'll do exactly what you just said. It'll warp the meta. It'll warp the way that people play and ban in THL, and it'll warp people's perception of the deck and make them think that it's a lot better than it is.
All right. Good points. we have one final question, and it's my favorite question actually of the night. And it deals with Legacy and the Anoyo team and their hopes in playoffs. So, if you look at the Gold Conference in Legacy, a Anoyo team is currently in first place with, I believe, 128 points. They are also on their bye week this week, and this is the last week. If you look at the four teams below them in their conference, each of those four teams plays a different team in the Gold Conference. They do not play each other, which means that a Noyo team who is currently in first place in Gold Conference could potentially miss playoffs. So my question, starting with Itachi, will we see a Noyo team miss the playoffs starting in first place?
So no, they're not going to miss the playoffs. They're going to be just fine. Do You Even Talk needs a really good standout week in order to catch an Oyo team. As much as they do play a lower tier team, and I get it, I don't think that it's wide enough to overcome that difference. It's a little bit larger of a difference than I think they're going to be capable of doing this week. They're also playing a little bit middle of the road. They haven't played at the highest tier lately. They're 4-3 with a reasonably mild strength of schedule and averaging 15.43 points per week, which is a lot more than a Noyo team. So if they can continue that average, they won't. They will just barely eke out a Noyo team, but I don't see that happening. So.
All right, Marty V.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Itachi here. I was looking at the standings, and I for some reason I thought Hot Zilfs was going to be the cutoff, but I was wrong, and it's Do You Even Talk? And as much as I want to talk, I can't talk enough to get past those annoying Anoyo teams. So I think even, especially with a 5-3 record, missing the playoffs with that, it's so unlikely. Okay, they don't just have a winning record; they're netting 2 wins. Okay, yeah, they're low on points per week, but given that, I think this is still enough. Okay, we look at the Red Conference too. Red Conference, it's even lower in terms of points, and that's much more wide open. But almost none of them are going to hit the 122 or 123 point mark that would be needed to eclipse another team in the gold. So I don't think, I don't think Do You Even Talk will make it. I think Hot Zilf's Chaos Theory and Device Brotherhood will pass them because they have fairly easy weeks in comparison. But an Oyo team, I think you sealed the playoffs. Congratulations.
Alrighty. I'm about to give you a point up there. We're at a tiebreaker. And I didn't write a tiebreaker question this week because we haven't had a tie since last season. Okay.
It's a shame Rebop isn't here. Mr. F12 himself could pick the winner.
I was about to say I'm just gonna, first person to donate money to our stream gets to pick the winner for tonight, but I'll think of a tiebreaker question. I will say that as well. No, I'm not taking your points. If anyone does donate money to the stream, they can pick the winner for tonight while I'm typing this question. You have until I finish typing the question for it. I'm not randomizing it. Always timeout time. Oh, did you create a new Twitch account? Dranium, I know you did 15 minutes ago. I meant now. Okay, sorry. Creating a question. Talk amongst yourselves. Don't be quiet. This is a stream.
Well, Itachi, what have you been playing? What have you been enjoying?
Ladder?
Yeah, ladder.
Miracle Road.
Okay.
It's pretty much exclusively.
I don't know. The meta feels wide open, kind of in standard. Everyone's playing different things. Warlock is feeling pretty dead. It's interesting. But otherwise, lots of different classes all over the place. We'll see if it ends up being a healthy meta with a lot of different counters and stuff. I know with the closed deckless series, it was a bit more difficult for some people. But if this meta allows for those counters and different matchup spreads, then it can only help those series.
Wait, are we having a tiebreaker question that I missed?
I was in the middle of typing one, but Corridon said, "Wait, my donation is going through." So I'm just gonna let his donation decide the winner of the stream tonight. Corridon's having struggles. It's fine. I'm letting Corridon choose. Oh boy. Gordon says $10 to the charity, and he says Marty B winner. Sorry, Itachi.
Gordon. Thank you.
Marty is the winner.
All of you. I'm just gonna shout out everyone that gave me points, because I saw like Rice Bowl, Bone Masher, Gordon. Thank you for picking me. All of you, just having some faith. I know there was a little bit of salt there, but I tried to stay away from the toxicity. And I appreciate it. So.
Wait, I feel scammed. Did I get scammed? What is this?
Oh, no. I'll share second place with you. You can have second place. Don't worry. Okay? It's better than being muted right now. So,
well,
again,
he
thanks.
would get second place. Yeah, all right. Barty taking the crown. The purchased crown. If we weren't in the middle of a charity drive, then I would not have allowed that. But here we are. To be fair, Tachi could have donated for his own. Oh, Electric Sheep City with another $10 saying Corridon was right. All right. Now it feels like you're getting scammed, Itachi, to be quite honest with you. Thanks to both of you for donating there. We really, really appreciate it.
So we got a Salt Lord in court and donating to the other Salt Lord because he's mad because he lost last week.
Yes, I think you're right. I think this is payback. This is payback on you from last week.
You sound a little salty there, Itachi.
Oh no, I'm good because my win was legit, so it's all good.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. How many points down did I get from Geranium again?
1, because you can only buy 1 point.
Oh, that's right.
So 1 points. Justin, Geranium, feel free to unmute.
What a coincidence! I just got untimed down in chat too.
Oh wow, really? Nice.
Yeah, really, really strange.
Crazy. Anything that either of you want to say before we head out for the night?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, both of us, the two people who weren't didn't make it to the final rounds, already posted sort of all of our legacy opinions in the legacy series on the Discord if you want to check them out. Also, if Nice Jewish Owl wants to really get tensed up and see if Do Even Talk is going to overtake Anoyo, just watch me fight Views on stream this Thursday.
Hey, stranger things have happened. A few seasons ago, my team was way far behind, and we did, I think, 2 sweeps in a row, and we squeaked in the playoffs by a point or 2. So, stranger things have happened.
This one isn't even that far behind. It's just 14 points with one team playing and not. It's just winning in.
Yeah.
Which is pretty standard for last week's stuff.
We'll see how it goes. It would be a crazy thing. I don't know if it might have happened at some point, but I can't think of a time where it's happened where the team in first place in the last week missed playoffs. But
how many times has the team in first place had a bye the last week?
Probably not very many either. It's a bunch of things just coming up against Anoyo right now. We'll see how it goes. It'd be very interesting. To be honest, I'm kind of rooting against them because I would like to see this happen. But yeah, I don't know. We'll find out. Thanks, Tachi. Thanks, Justin. Thanks, Geranium. And then thank you to Marty for being on tonight. We will be back next week. Hold on, let me check my calendar. I have a bunch of projects coming in. Yeah, we will be back next week for our next show. And then after that, we will be gone for a week. We'll be back on a regular schedule. But next week, we will return. Marty will hopefully be returning to defend his crown. And we will have 3 other competitors to come up against Marty. And then your other faces on the show tonight will be sitting in the wings waiting to get their revenge before the end of the season. Don't forget to check out the merch on the merch store. All the proceeds go to our campaign for the Trevor Project, just like that lovely Rip Carl shirts that Geranium is wearing. And a bunch of Pride merchandise as well, THL Pride merchandise. But thank you for coming. Thank you for donating. And we will see you next Monday. Have a great night. No one's waving by. Are we going to do this right now?
I just waved.
No, it's got to be all at once. No. All right,
Oh,
I will
man.
sit on this stream. Justin?
All right, there you
Dude,
go.
I'm a teacher. I can hold this. All right, I'll